things I cover. The first is the mindset, and then the second are the skills. But to me, I feel like the skills are 20% of the business, and the mindset's 80%. The skills, like the things I do every day, like I'm not the smartest person in the world. Like I'm not the most tech savvy or anything like that. I think the things I do every day, I could teach to an eighth grader, like an advanced eighth grader, I think could pick up those things. The hard part for most people is the mindset that it takes to be successful with the business. So I always start there. And what I kind of say is I'm like a big picture guy. Like, obviously hitting Success Club every month is like something I shoot for. And that's something that Beachbody, the corporate's always talking about. But for me, like when I got started, I got lucky enough to be introduced to coaches that always told me that there's a big picture in this business. And anytime someone comes to me and they say, I want to be successful with coaching, or I want to create a 6-figure income, or I want to build a team that impacts a ton of lives, I always tell them like the same thing. Whatever that question is, I always say it's going to come down to one thing: developing 2 or 3 good leaders that want to do this business with you. That's what it's going to come down to. If you can find 2 or 3 people that are all in, that are committed, that understand what this thing's all about, and are in this for the long term and become leaders, you're going to have a ton of success as far as impacting a lot of lives, more than you can on your own. And financially, you're going to have a lot of success as well. So that to me has always been the big picture. It comes down to finding and developing 2 or 3 really good leaders. And even, 5 was kind of my goal, but I've noticed like once a coach finds like just 2 or 3 really good ones, their businesses just take off to the next level. So that's the big picture. I always have that in my mind. So then the next question is, okay, great. Like, how do you do that? The 2 or 3 people that you want on your team, those 2 or 3 rock star leaders, for the most part, a lot of times those are going to be people that aren't going to just jump right into something on like a whim. They're going to be people that need to watch you for a while, because they're probably pretty smart people that are calculated, and they're probably doing really well with whatever else they're doing in life. So they're not just jumping on anything. They are going to watch you for a while to see if you're serious about this and is this thing real. So that's, to me, is like, all right, now we know the big picture. The thing that's really going to give you a lot of success in this business is developing a couple really good leaders. And the way you find those really great leaders is to show them that this thing is real and that you're serious. And the way you prove that to them is by being consistent with this business, posting on social media, being proof the products work, sharing your journey on social media for 6 months to sometimes a year or more. And then those are the people you want on your team. Then they get on your team. But that's the understanding you gotta have coming into this. What I see a lot of coaches do, though, is they sign up and they're so excited and they do it for like 3 or 4 months, and maybe they even hit Success Club their first 3 months, or maybe they don't, whatever it is, but their warm market starts kind of drying up maybe, or things aren't as exciting as they once were. Even like when you go to a job, like it's exciting the first time you go to a job, and then it starts to kind of wear off a little bit. The same is true with like when you're starting a business. It's really exciting, but eventually that initial excitement might wear off. And I always see coaches, they go, it's not happening as fast as I want. And they stop doing the things they need to do every day. And what they didn't realize was those people that were watching them, that were going to be those 2 or 3 rock star leaders that they're looking for, they were watching. They didn't comment on anything you posted. They didn't like anything you posted, but they were watching. And they saw you stop after 3 or 4 months. And you lost all that credibility that you had been gaining. So the best way I can, any visual learners on the call like me, I'm a total visual. You can talk to me, but I need like visual examples, okay? So has anyone ever tried to run up an escalator that's going down? Anyone ever tried that and their mom yelled at them like me? Anybody? No.
Sounds like
I'm the only one that's done that? Okay.
It sounds like
it's very similar to this business. Running up an escalator that's going down is just like this the first year of this business. You're going to be running full speed. You're going to be so excited, and you're running and you're inviting and you're doing your vital behaviors and you're posting on social media. but your business isn't moving as fast as you want because you're going uphill against the traffic of this escalator. And you got to realize that that's how it works, because people need to watch you for a while before they're convinced that this thing's real. And when you're running full speed up an escalator, you're not going as fast as you want, and it gets a little tiring and you get discouraged. What do a lot of coaches do? They stop. They stop running. And what happens when you stop running on an escalator that's going down? Do you stay in the same place you were? When you take a break in this business, do you stay in the same place? When you take a break when you're running up an escalator that's going down, do you stay in the same place when you come back? You go all the way back down to the bottom. Because all those people that were watching you saw you take a break, and you lost that credibility. So all that momentum you had, you lost. And I did that to myself over and over and over again for 4 years. I've been a coach for over 7 years. First 4 years sucked. Last 3 years, a lot better. And that's the one simple thing that I changed. That's the biggest thing I changed. I kept getting on this escalator, running full speed, so excited, and life would get in the way, or my business wasn't growing as fast as I wanted, and I would take a break, and I would lose all that momentum. And all my coaches that were on that escalator with me, if I only had a few of them, but they saw me stop, and they're like, and they saw me go back down the escalator, they're like, "Where are you going, dude?" And then they stopped, and then they went back down the escalator. So that, to me, is like, that's the mindset. You got to understand that that's just kind of how the business works. People are watching, and they need time. They need to watch you for a while to make sure that you're real, that you're serious, and that this thing is a real opportunity. You guys understand that, you guys? So who's kind of been up and down that escalator a few times? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. So I don't feel alone on that. Okay, so now we understand, like, this business is like running up an escalator that's going kind of downhill. So, all right. So how, what attributes do I see in coaches that end up getting on the escalator and end up making it to the top without taking the brakes and falling off? And then the ones that do stop when they get halfway up the escalator, what are they missing? So that's kind of the next part I talk to my coaches about. Once they understand the big picture, 2 or 3 leaders is kind of the big picture goal, and you're going to find those 2 or 3 leaders by being on an escalator for a year. Sounds great, right? So why do some coaches stay on and some don't? And to me, it kind of comes down to 2 things. Number 1, your why. I'm sure you hear that all the time. Number 2, your belief. So when I am on a call with a new coach, once we talk about that, the leader part, we talk about the escalator, then it's like, all right, let's talk about your why. Why are you going to stay on an escalator that's going downhill? Why are you going to stay on that thing for a year? What's at the top of that escalator for you? And so I call it I don't call it a why, I call it a why list. So I tell them to take out a piece of paper and we write down everything on a why list. And I had from the small to the big, I had a coach tell me that she wanted to be able to afford the softer Charmin toilet paper. I was like, add that shit to the list. That's great. So, and then all the way up to the big stuff. So the toilet paper, if you want softer toilet paper, add it to the list. If you want to pay for your Shakeology, add it to the list. If you want to pay for a cell phone bill, add it to the list. Mortgage, add it to the list. Financial freedom, add it to the list. You want to impact a ton of lives and do something that's so much bigger than yourself, add it to the list. Whatever it is, anything from small to big. And start getting in the mindset of, instead of looking around at what other people are doing and saying, oh, that'd be so cool if I could do that for my family, or if I could do what that person's doing. No more saying that would be cool. You start saying, I'm going to do that. I'm adding it to my why list, and that's going to be my why fuel. And I call it why fuel. If you run out of why fuel, if your why tank goes empty, you're not going to get to the top. You're gonna stop running. So that why list is huge. How many of you guys have a visual why, like something written down? Maybe it's one thing. I would say write everything, little to small, toilet paper to doing something that's going to make a huge dent on this world in a positive way. Financial freedom, if that's your thing too, right? Cool. So that's the first thing I tell them is that's their first homework assignment, why list. Okay. So next thing I said was belief. Right? I don't know if I told you that. So why and then belief. So the way I kind of do the belief is, I talked about the big picture, the 2 or 3 leaders. That's who you want. You want those 2 or 3 people that are going to be like your tribe, like your boys, like whatever you want to call it, like the people that want to really do this, that are inspired and as fired up as you are. So now I kind of reverse engineer it back to those little daily behaviors. But it starts with the big picture. So how are you going to find those 2 or 3 rock star leaders? Where are they usually going to come from? There you go. You got it. Challenge groups. They're going to come from your challenge groups. There's 2 things. Like, I have people that come to me and they approach me on social media and they say, I want to do what you do. I want to be a coach. Can you show me? Can you teach me to be a coach? And I always tell them that the best way for me to show them if this is a good fit for them and to train them to be an outstanding coach is for me to give them an experience in my challenge group. Because there's 2 things that I believe every successful coach has. And if they don't go through a challenge group, they're probably not going to have these things. Number 1, they have a belief in the products. I mean, Beachbody has the best products on the planet. If people use them, they work. The products aren't on trial. They're proven, they work. But what happens? Most people don't use the products. And that's why what we do as coaches is so important. Us, the coaches, we are the glue of the entire experience. And if someone's never been through a challenge group, they don't understand that. They've never experienced how important what we do is. So we got our 2 or 3 leaders. They're going to come from our challenge groups. They're going to be people that understand and love the products. And they're going to be people that love and understand what we do as coaches and understand that we're the glue of this whole thing and how vital that is. So, okay, now like we know where they're coming from challenge group. Now, how do you get people into your challenge groups? Anybody know? Vital behaviors. Vital behaviors. And actually, I'm going to go even deeper into that. I have 5 skills that I'll tell you guys about that I think every coach needs, the 5 skills. But the vital behaviors, this is how I teach my coaches the vital behaviors. There's 4 now, right? So now there's recognition, which I think is so huge. Recognition for your team, for your challengers, for the tiniest little things. And what a lot of coaches do, a lot of like high achievers, they never recognize themselves because they're such perfectionists. They don't take the time to do that. I'm not saying like give yourself shout outs publicly, but take the time to recognize yourself just silently and celebrate when you do great things. Is that cool with you guys? So that's recognition. But the 3, like the original 3 vital behaviors, we got inviting, which to me is kind of the overarching one. But then there's the foundational ones, the ones that to me are the most important. Personal development and being proof the products work. If you want to get someone into your challenge groups, which is where your leaders are going to come from, and the leaders are what's going to lead to all the things on your why list. But if you want to get people into your challenge groups, you got to be being proof the products work. You got to be doing your personal development. And the more you're doing those 2 things, the easier inviting is going to become. Just kind of how it works. To me, those are the foundation. The more comfortable you get with those 2, the personal development, the more you're doing that, the more proof that you become of the products are working. Inviting becomes natural. It becomes so much more easier. So reverse engineer it all the way back to those little vital behaviors that we're telling you got to do every day for that year while you're on that escalator. It's going to get you the people that finally get into your challenge groups, the people in your challenge group. That's where your 2 or 3 great leaders are going to come from. Those 2 or 3 great leaders are what's going to create the 6-figure income. It's what's going to create a team of people that are going to impact a ton of lives. So now, like, when my coaches are doing the vital behaviors, it's not like I'm doing this because this is what I'm supposed to do. It's like they know exactly why they're doing it all the way up to the big picture. And that really solidifies their belief in what this business is all about and their belief in those vital behaviors. So you couple that unbelievable why with the belief that the things they're doing every day are actually going to get them to that why. and they're unstoppable. And the coaches that struggle with consistency, they're struggling with one of those two things. They either don't believe that they're going to get there, or they don't even have a why. For whatever reason, they're blocking themselves from even being able to say they have something big they want to shoot for. So I work with them on those two things. And I'll ask them, I'll say, if I'm talking to a brand new, a coach, a veteran coach that's struggling or something like that, I'll ask them, even though I know what their why is, what they're on their why list, I ask them again, read off your why list to me. I want to, and then maybe something new pops up and they add it to it. And then I go into the belief. I go, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you in your belief that it's inevitable that you're going to find 2 or 3 leaders that really want to do this business with you? Where are you at with that? This is a safe zone. I'm not judging you. This isn't a test. Be honest. Where are you at right now with that on a scale of 1 to 10 with your confidence that it is 110% inevitable that if I just keep doing these behaviors and stay on this escalator, I'm going to attract and find those 2 or 3 people that just get it and are all in just like me. We got a 10 thrown up right there. Boom. And then if you don't have a 10, that's fine. I didn't really have a 10. It's funny for me, it wasn't even a belief for me. I don't know why. I just had this knowingness that it was just a matter of time that I was going to find a couple people that just wanted to do this as much as me. It was beyond a belief. I just knew it was going to happen as long as I just stayed consistent with those little vital behaviors. So when a coach doesn't have a 10, which most don't, I ask them what's holding you back from feeling that 10? What is it? Again, judge-free zone. Just let's have a conversation. And when they say what it is, when they verbalize it, immediately it loses a little bit of its hold on them. And they kind of laugh sometimes. They go, I know that's stupid. And they kind of laugh, which is good when they just verbalize it instead of just internalizing it, letting it grip them. And then once they verbalize it and lose a little bit of strength, then I kind of talk them through it. And, it's usually something that's not a huge thing. If it's time or maybe they're just doubting themselves, we just kind of talk through those little things and try to get that belief, that strength back in their belief, that understanding it's inevitable. The only way you can mess this thing up is if you stop. The only way you can mess this up is if you quit. You are the boss. You don't have a boss. No one's going to come to you and say, you have been doing terrible this year. You're fired. It's not how this business works. The only way you can get fired or mess it up is if you just stop. I try to get them back understanding that belief. So is that enough mindset for you guys? For me, that's what it is. It's if you don't have that long-term big picture mindset, you don't understand that this is about running up an escalator and people need to watch you, and they might not like or comment on anything, but they are watching. And when they tell you no, that's a good thing because now they're going to watch you even more. You've planted a seed now. No's are good. No's are good. No's just mean not yet. So that's the first thing I talk to my new coaches about. They gotta have a very strong mindset and understanding that this is not a quick thing. It's a long-term thing, and people need to watch you for a while before they're going to be ready to get on board. And you just got to stay consistent with those simple things. Personal development every day. To me, that's the most important thing you can do, not just in Beachbody, but in life. That's the first thing I do every day. The second thing I do every day, my workout. Body and mind. Take care of those 2 things first. Those are the 2 foundational vital behaviors. The more you do that, the more consistent you stay with those 2 things, inviting becomes easier. The more likely you're going to be to have people join your challenge groups. And the more likely those challengers are going to turn into those leaders you're looking for. Cool? All right, so that's the mindset. So then once we kind of nail that home, and really make sure they're excited to be on this escalator. Then we go into the 5 skills that to me are not obviously you can get better at them, and some people are naturally skilled at these things. I wasn't. but they're not terribly difficult. So number one is sharing your journey on social media. Sharing your journey on social media. So you better be on a journey to share something. You got to be doing your personal development, prove the products work in order to kind of share that. And that doesn't mean like you have to be perfect, and you shouldn't be. Like I share sometimes that I'm struggling with my journey. I'm like, I need like some accountability partners to like push hard on this next 21-day challenge. Who wants to like do it with me? We can do it together. We'll keep each other accountable. Because I'm struggling with that right now, and I could definitely use some help. Who's in? I'm not posting like, here's a 21-day challenge. Here's the link to my website. Here's a ton sale this month. I'm saying, I'm doing this. Who wants to do it with me? That's how I invite. So, but skill number one is kind of just sharing your journey, the ups, the downs. If you're like dealing with something in life that everyone has stuff, fears, doubts, things that just aren't the way they want it, you can share those things too. But share kind of like how you're planning on getting through it, or how you already are getting through it, or how you've gotten through it. That's such a huge thing. Most like Beachbody coaches, all they do is share like how excited they are. I'm so excited. Like that's great. You got to have that excitement. But if you really want people to like root you on, you share like what struggling with or what you've struggled with in the past, because people can relate to that. They feel that pain, and then they're willing to root you on and maybe even join you on that journey. But if you're just sitting around like always positive all the time, so excited about everything, they can't really relate to that because they're not there yet in their life. So that's one of the skills, sharing your journey, just getting better at that and more comfortable with that. And I have my coaches, I post in my coach group once in a while. I post, here's the 5 skills. Everyone comment with, on a scale of 1 to 10, where you are at with each of these 5 skills. If I'm doing a one-on-one call, I do that too. And then whatever of the 5 skills they're lowest at, that's when we kind of focus on. Because if you're missing one of these skills, if you're not feeling too good about yourself in one of these 5, it's going to throw off the rest. So getting comfortable with sharing on social media, sharing your journey, sharing what you're up to, attracting your tribe, being real. That's number 1. Number 2 is adding people to your network. Some people, and I was guilty of this my first few years of the business, I had the same like 3 people liking all my posts. It was just, I'm not going to make Success Club every month if I only got 3 people, the same 3 people liking my posts every day, So skill number 2 is getting good at adding new people to your network each day. And, it could be like 2 people a day, 2 to 5, I say. And you don't have to be a magician at that. There's a couple pretty simple ways to do that. And you don't even, if you're on, I'm sure all you guys are on Facebook. So Facebook groups is a great way to do that. You can see if maybe I can even share my screen real quick. See if I can show you guys this. Okay, so someone like, give me like a city that one of you guys are from. That's easy to spell because I'm not a great speller. What do you guys got for me? Did you throw it in a chat? Let's see. Ottawa. Okay. Ottawa. So you type in Ottawa, and you don't click on any of this stuff that pops up. You go to this bottom here where it says see all results for Ottawa. And then you click on groups. And then if you're from Ottawa and you like hunting, you could join this hunting group. If you're a mom that lives in Ottawa, you could join this mom's group in Ottawa. And it doesn't just have to be your local town, but that's just kind of one way that you do it. And you want to like connect with people you have similar interests with. It's gonna be easy to connect with them. And another way is going to like your suggested friends over here. Search for friends. You can search for friends based on their name. You can search for suggested friends based on their hometown, based on what current city they live in, high school, mutual friends, college, employer, grad school. So you just type that stuff in. Facebook is going to be like, based on your hometown or whatever town you type in, here's someone we suggest as your friend. That's a great way to add new people to your network. So always that's kind of one way I do it. I also use Instagram. To me, that's a simple way to connect with new people. I just search different hashtags and look for photos that catch my eye. And then I go to their page. And if it's someone that I have things in common with, or it's someone's page that pops out at me, I just comment on one of their photos and I tell them why I like their page. And I ask them about whatever it is they do that interests me. If I go to someone's page or profile and nothing pops out at me, there's nothing there, I move on. I'm not just trying to connect with anyone and everyone. I'm trying to connect with people that I want to connect with. People that when their stuff comes in my newsfeed, I'm actually going to be interested in it. So I'm not like doing this connecting just because I'm building a business. I'm doing it to connect with people that I actually am interested in, that I want to see show up in my newsfeed. And then they usually are the ones that you have great connections with and end up benefiting your business as kind of a side thing. So that's skill number 2, is just make sure you're adding new people to your network each day. Third skill is besides like just inviting, and that second skill is finding and connecting with those people. So yeah, you can find them, but then like finding people that you have things in common with so that connection becomes easier. So find and connect is forming. That's kind of that second skill, right? So number 1, share your journey. Number 2, find and connect with new people each day. Add to your network each day. Number 3, invite people to be a part of your journey. Invite people to just kind of watch your journey. That's kind of part of the connecting. And then, so this is something that I struggled with, and I know a lot of coaches struggle with. It's like that, like getting over that fear of just throwing an invite out there. And this is what I tell my coaches. This is what I tell myself if I have a fear of reaching out to someone. If I'm nervous, I tell myself, you're in your head, you're thinking about yourself, you're thinking about what other people think of you, you're thinking about how you're going to come off to others. Stop coming from your head, come from your heart, and worry about how you can help other people. Make that shift from your head to your heart, and fear goes away. And you throw the invite out there. And if they say no, they say no. But at least you came from your heart and you reached out to someone that you have an opportunity to help. If they don't want it, then they don't. But if you're in your head worried about what they think and you're not coming from your heart, it's a disservice to them. So what I say is, after I've connected with them and we're just talking about stuff, I'll say, hey, like, you would be interested in doing one of my 21-day challenges with me, would you? And I know, like, probably in sales school, like, I was never in sales or anything, but like, they probably don't say, like, you shouldn't say you wouldn't be interested, but that's what I say, and it works. Because I'm like more of a laid back approach. And I just say, hey, you would be interested in doing one of my 21-day challenges with me, would you? And then they'll say something like, what is it? And I'll say, well, there's a few options. Do you mind if I ask you a little bit about your goals and your struggles? If they say right off the bat, like, well, how much does it cost? I go, well, there's a few options. Like, do you mind if I ask you a little bit about your goals and what your biggest like obstacles are right now? And then I ask them. Then I ask them about their goals and their struggles. I have like kind of 5 questions I ask. One's kind of about where they're at with their fitness, like what kind of workouts they're doing right now. I can share my, the little invite script that I follow. Here, I'll just post it in the chat. I'll do it after this. But so yeah, like I'm asking them a little bit about where they're at with their own fitness. I ask them how their relationship is with food. To me, like, I don't care how hard you're working out at the gym or how hard you're working out with your programs. Like, if you don't have your nutrition dialed in, like, you're not going to get the results you want. And that's where most people struggle. And I think nutrition's 80% of the battle. So I'm asking them about how they, where their relationship is with food, that kind of stuff. Which is why I'm a huge fan of 21 Day Fix, because of those containers and Shakeology, because that's such a simple way to get people's nutrition dialed in. So when I'm asking them those 5 questions, which I'll share with you guys, I'm digging deep. Like, I want to know what their goals are in the next 21 days. Not, I want to lose 10 pounds. I want to know why you want to lose 10 pounds. I want to know that you want to look good naked in front of the mirror. Sounds weird, right? Or I want to know, like, I want more energy to keep up with my kids and run around with my kids. That's why I want to lose the 10 pounds. Like, people are going to associate like when you're talking about a program or a diet, which most people think that's what we're doing. So I'll back up a second. Another question I asked is, in the last 5 years, how many times have you started a diet or a workout routine and fell off? And they always say it's too many. Share your name. Yeah, after this I will. Threw me off. So then my next one is, I'm asking them, would they benefit from being in a 21-day group? A 21-day group with other people that are going to support them and push them and have me kind of coaching them along the way. So with these 5 questions, what I'm trying to get them to understand, that this isn't going to be one of those diets or programs you've ever tried before, because you've never had me before. You've never had the coach. That's that part that we talked about. That's the glue. They've never had that. That's why they've always fallen off. And they need to understand that I'm really interested in figuring out why they really want to do this beyond just losing 10 pounds or wanting to tone up. Why though? Why? I want them to understand that this is very different than anything they've done, because they have me and they have a support group. And when I'm having that little 5-step invite process with a coach or with a prospect that's interested in maybe doing a challenge, they can tell that I do not give a shit about $50 of commission. I do not care about the 2 Success Club points. They can tell that I am trying to get them into a challenge group that is not even about getting them great 21-day before and after photos. It's about helping them take 21 days to create habits and break some bad ones that are going to create a long-term, sustainable, healthy lifestyle for the rest of their life. And that's what they're signing up for. And people are willing to pay a lot more than what they think just a challenge pack is. So when we finally get to the next step, which is talking a little bit more about the group, they're really excited. And then the final step is the price. They're like, that's it? I'm in. Because I took the time to really show them what they are paying for, which is way more than just a challenge pack, and what they're going to get out of it, which is way more than just lose 10 pounds. Right? So I'll share that little invite script with you guys. But that's more of like a guide. You gotta also use that as a guide, but then dig deep with people to help them, to show them what this thing really is about. To me, like, the foundation of my business is the experience I give my challengers. It's helping them create a long-term sustainable lifestyle beyond 21 days. That's what I'm trying to do in that experience. Make it fun for them so that it lasts long-term. If you fall in love with giving your challengers an amazing experience, you're going to have more people that want to be a part of your challenge groups. It's going to be easier to hit Success Club. If you give those challengers an amazing experience, they're going to be so much more likely to want to become a coach. And if they become a coach, they're going to be such a better coach, because they're going to give the same experience that you gave them to their people. So to me, the foundation of the business is, how much of an experience are you giving your challengers? So you're not going to be shocked about this, but I'll tell you the 4th skill. Number 1, again, sharing your journey on social media. Number 2, adding new people and connecting with new people to your network. Number 3, inviting. Guess what number 4 is? Giving your people an amazing experience in those challenge groups. And I told you a little bit about why, and why that I believe that that's the foundation. It's going to get, if you fall in love with that, more people are going to want to join your challenge groups. It's going to be so evident to them that you're not out to just sell challenge packs. Your job is not to sell challenge packs. When they buy the challenge pack, that's when your job starts. Your job is not to hit Success Club. When you hit Success Club, that's when your job starts. And people can tell the difference between someone who's just trying to hit Success Club and someone who's going to roll up their sleeves and get to work once that person buys the challenge pack from them. So that's number 4. The fifth skill is getting comfortable with introducing the coaching opportunity to your challengers that you're giving an amazing experience to. How to introduce, and I have a little 3-step script that I follow for that. How I kind of introduce my challengers to the coaching opportunity. The ones that want the discount, how to talk to them about the discount on Shakeology, and then even about the coaching opportunity. I can share that with you guys too.
Yes, please share it.
Yeah, you got it.
Thanks.
And I'll share 3 things with you. I'll share my 21-day challenge invite script. I'll share my how to introduce coaching to a challenger script. And I'll share my 1 little page document that has the mindset and the 5 skills. And there's a little video for each of those things on that little 1-page thing. So you guys can refresh yourself if you need to. But you still should be taking notes. Okay, so that's it. And this is the other thing that I tell coaches when they are nervous about, they're like kind of starting to get comfortable with being a coach and kind of getting comfortable with those 5 things. But what terrifies them and what holds them back, they hold themselves back. And the reason they do it is they don't think they're good enough to train coaches of their own. So they're afraid to reach out to people about this coaching opportunity. And again, they're thinking about themselves. They're in their head. They're not coming from their heart. They're not worried about how they can help other people. So what I tell them is I get on a call with them and I say, okay, don't feel like you have to be like some amazing, ridiculous, talented person to be a leader. All you have to do to be a leader is get comfortable with those 5 skills and then just share those 5 skills with your coaches and get them comfortable with those 5 skills. That's all there is to it. It's not anything more than that. Like, help get comfortable with that mindset that we talked about, get comfortable with those 5 skills, and then just kind of share what you do, how you do those 5 skills, and get your coaches comfortable with that. If you do that, you're going to rock this business. So don't look around thinking that you don't have what you need to be successful. Just get comfortable with those 5 things. Get your coaches comfortable with those 5 things. You're going to crush it, right? That's the thing I think some coaches get caught up on, is they don't feel like they know how to train a coach because they're a new coach themselves. So what I'll say is, okay, if you're not comfortable with those 5 skills, if there's 1 of those or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 of those skills that you're not comfortable with yet, that's where we start. We get you comfortable and confident with those 5 things. And then it's going to be just all you got to do to train a coach is you don't have to train them or be a leader really. It's more you're sharing with them what you're doing that's working for you. And I feel like my coaches feel more comfortable when I say all they got to do is just share what's working for them. But if you're struggling with 1 of those 5 skills, then you just work on that and get better at that. And, your upline helps you with that kind of stuff. And personal development does too. So that's all I got. That's the mindset. We talked about the big picture, the escalator you got to stay on, understanding this is a long-term thing, and then learning those 5 skills and just getting good at that and just keep doing those skills over and over again. And remember, the only way you can mess this thing up is if you stop, is if you quit. And the last thing I'll tell you is the mindset and those 5 skills I was not very good at when I first started, but I just kind of got better at and better at. Like when I first became a coach, like I wouldn't even get on the team calls that I was on because I was afraid they would ask me to like introduce myself and I would like forget my name or something, So it's not like if I can do, like, the reason my sisters are super successful other than they're great is they saw me doing this and they were like, well, if he can do it, I definitely can do it. They didn't look at me as like Patrick Reelman 3-time elite coach. They looked at me as like Pat, my brother, that like laid on the couch, you know? So it was like they had the belief, and the skills were like just that was the easier part. The belief is the hard part. That's where I spend most of my time with my coaches, is helping them on that escalator, making sure they understand like what's at the top and understand how they're the fuel they need to stay on that escalator. But getting good with handling disappointment. Jim Rohn says, discipline your disappointment. To me, that was a very tough thing. The reason that I would get on the escalator for 3 or 4 months and be really excited and then fall off and disappear and take breaks is because I was not good at disciplining my disappointment. I wanted this business to go faster than it was going to go because I didn't understand that people need to watch me for a while. That's just kind of how it works. I didn't understand that. So when they weren't joining as fast as I wanted, I'd get disappointed, and then I'd stop, and they'd see that I stopped, and then they wouldn't join, you know? Shooting myself in the foot. So when someone tells you no, when coaches quit on you, when your business isn't growing as fast as you want, you just got to understand that that's part of the journey, and you got to be able to discipline your disappointment. And what that means to me is you stay disciplined when you're disappointed, because you're going to have a lot of disappointment along the way. You're going to have months where it's slow and it seems like no one's interested. You're going to have months like that. You're going to have periods. But I guarantee you, if you stay consistent with those little things, you stay disciplined, those cold spells, they always go away. They always go away. But most coaches never let themselves, they don't stay disciplined enough to get through those cold spells. And they just start doubting everything, and then they take more breaks, and the discipline goes out the window. And next thing you know, that escalator that they were almost halfway up, has taken them back down to the bottom. And then they got to get back on. Like what I did was I kept doing that myself over and over. And I saw people get on that escalator, stay consistent for a full year and blow this thing out of the water. And I just got pissed at myself. And the regret became stronger than that discipline that I needed to just stay consistent, to show people that I was serious about this and that this thing was real. And I all of a sudden wasn't desperate for people to join my team. If you're desperate for people to do your challenge groups and you're desperate for people to join your team, like, people can smell that desperateness. It oozes out of you. You know, like, you just got to have like, I'm doing this. I'm doing personal development. I'm doing the workouts. I'm drinking Shakeology. I'm eating right because I want to be a badass and I want to feel good and I want to kick ass. And I'm doing that for me, and I'm doing it with or without you. And if you want to be a part of that, great. And if you don't, great. But I'm doing this because I love this stuff, because I'm a badass. I want to feel more like a badass. And I stopped being desperate for people to join me. I just was doing it for me. And I was like, I'm doing it. And you know what? I know other people want to do this with me. I know other people want to get on that same journey. And I know that there's going to be people that want to inspire others to get on that journey. And I know I'm going to bump into those people along the way. And if you're one of them, great. And if you're not, that's okay. But I'm sticking with this thing because I want to be a badass. But yeah, so that's that would be the other thing. Just be able to discipline your disappointment. Have that knowingness in your gut that this success is inevitable with this thing, as long as you stay consistent, as long as you're growing yourself, as long as you're staying consistent with your journey, you're doing those 5 skills, you're going to bump into the right people. If you share a good idea long enough, it's going to land on good people. And just know that in your gut. You don't have to be desperate for people. Don't feel like you have to drag people along. The best way to motivate your coaches that aren't doing anything is to be successful without them. If you try to drag them along, all you're going to show them is that in order for them to be successful, they have to drag people along, and that's going to turn them off. If you want to motivate someone, if you want to light a fire under someone's ass, be successful without them and leave them behind. And that'll show you if this is really a good fit for them or not. If it is, they're going to get their butt in gear and catch up with you. If it's not a good fit, then they might not. But if you try to, and maybe they come around like a year later, but if you try to pull them along, you're going to just completely show them that this is not what it really is. You're going to show them that this is something you got to pull people along, and they're never going to ever get involved. You're doing them a disservice. You think you're helping them by pulling them and doing all that, but you're really not. Just focus on the people that want to do this with you, and focus on yourself. If you don't have anyone that wants to do this with you right now, Focus on your own journey. Be a badass. Work on being a bigger badass. And people are going to start to want to be a part of that, the right people. If you post stuff that you're afraid other people aren't going to like, if they don't like it, that's not who you're posting to. So don't worry what they think. You're posting to people that get inspired by that stuff. The people that don't like it, who cares? You're not posting for them. They can unfriend you. You know? Right? All right. I'm done. I'll get off my soapbox. You guys have any questions?
You're a badass.
A lot of personal development.
Seriously. No, I mean,
awesome. Like, so awesome. Like, I couldn't have said it better myself. I told Christy she better get this video as soon as possible because it's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
I loved it so much, and it was so right on that I'm gonna put it in all of our Coach Basics, and they're gonna have to watch this video as one of their first videos.
Oh man, poor people.
No, really, I really appreciate you. I mean, it's amazing. You're a remarkable leader. I really appreciate you for sharing all this information with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And just remember that when I told you that when I first was asked to get on a team call, I didn't because I was afraid I'd forget my name. So that's the growing process. That's the journey, you know, like, and I still have days where like I doubt myself. And when I do, if I'm afraid or if I'm doubting myself, I go, you're in your head. You're worried about what other people think. You're worried about how you're coming off to people. Come from your heart. Worry about how you can help others. And it helps. It's not like an easy thing to do like overnight because we're so conditioned to be in our head and worry about ourselves and what other people think and how we come off to the world. But the more you condition yourself to just sense that fear and realize, okay, here I'm doing it again. I'm not coming from my heart. I'm not leading with service to others. I'm thinking about myself and what other people think. The more you like acknowledge that fear and just start making that shift more, the more you get out of your own head and the easier it is to, you know, do these kind of calls and interact with your people that are interested in your challenge groups, and interact with your challengers, interact with your coaches and all that stuff. But yeah, I still struggle with that fear and that doubt and you know, all that stuff. And that's why personal development is to me the most vital behavior. And it's why it's the first thing I do when I wake up.
And the 3 things that you're going to post, are you going to inbox them to me, or I could just post them on the team page, or how do you want to post it?
I'll just do it in this chat. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. They're all Google Docs. So that's the one I just kind of went over. It's called Everything a New Coach Needs to Know. I think that's something like that. This next one's going to be this next one is the 21-day challenge script, right? Yep. And then this last one will be how I introduce my challengers to coaching. Does anybody have any questions on any of that stuff? Or just any questions in general? Nada? Don't be afraid.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to thank you. It was really good. A lot of great information. You make it sound so easy, so I appreciate it. It was good.
You're welcome.